We are back with the second half of the Hampden 8 Marks Collection taste through. If you have no idea what's going on, please go back and watch the first video of this series where I basically told you a little bit about Hampden, about this set, and I tasted through the first three marks. But now we're getting serious. Now we are up to HCLF and beyond. So let's pour these and we will get started. So just a quick refresher. Unaged rums, pot distilled, molasses based from Hampden Distillery. All of these are unaged and bottled at 60% ABV, but made with different recipes and different flavor profiles, especially ester profiles. There is the Sea Diamond H. Oh, glorious. And finally, DOK. Oh, the room smells wonderful already. Okay, let's get going. Starting off with HCLF. There you go. That's what the bottle looks like. 200 mils, all of these. All 8 of these. HCLF is, well, it's a mark if you know anything about Hampden, you should know this mark very well because it's the mark behind Rum Fire, which is the first of Hampden's own bottlings. So what you're getting here is molasses, yeast, water, and then a modest amount of cane juice vinegar, dunder, and muck. If you're confused about what any of that means, go watch the first video. The difference between this and LROK, which is the previous mark, is basically a longer fermentation time. LROK gets, LROK gets 5 days, this gets 7. So you're looking at an ester profile of 400 to 600 grams per hectoliter of pure alcohol. Oh, and weird. And I mean, Hampden themselves on this little sheet they gave me described this, and I quote, as the threshold for higher ester profiles. And you could absolutely smell it on the nose. In particular, I am just starting to get a note which I associate with high ester Hampden, and it's something like either floral rocks or rocky flowers, one of the two. It's a kind of mixture of floral and minerally notes that kind of smudge into each other, and it's going to be all over this video. Beyond that, cherry cola, which is just a classic Hampden note, fennel, black olive, pineapple, bergamot, a little bit of blackberry, actually. Certainly just a lot of flowers, even beyond the kind of floral rocks thing. And Smarties, one of my all-time favorite candies. It's kind of a slight leafiness to it. It's not exactly herbaceous. It's more like just, you know, like wet leaves and rain, like tree leaves. A terrific nose, but I was kind of expecting that going in. This is one of my favorite marks. I know it. I love it. I love Rum Fire, so I was going to like this. All right, here we go. On the palate. Like, what am I going to say? Of course it's good. It's really good. Leading on Smarties, actually. If there was like a blueberry. If there were blueberry and blackberry Smarties, this is what they would taste like. Also, cherry cola. Fennel, basil. That floral rocky flowers thing is in there. Pineapple and bergamot again. Trying to pick through that kind of herbal note. There's a little bit of like a basil bitterness on the back end of this, or even a little cilantro. Not too much, just a little touch. I'm one of those folks with the genes that makes cilantro just a little bit soapy, but I kind of like it anyways. Yeah, fabulous. I'm going to give this a touch of water. We'll come back to it, and hopefully after the DOK, I will still be able to taste this. 2, 3, 4, and 5. The last video was all variations on 87 out of 100, so I'm really hoping that I can break out of that score range a little bit. It's the higher or lower side. I'm really hoping it's not just a bunch of 87s. We shall see, though. All right, moving on to Diamond H, not to be confused with C Diamond H, which is coming right up. This is so basically here you're getting more vinegar, more dunder, more muck, and still longer fermentation time. This is a total of 10 days fermentation. Oh. We're really starting to get into that kind of like weird Smarties, sweet tarts, candy territory, married with that fun floral rocky flowers thing. It's really a lot of what's coming through right now. Okay, what else is going on? What else can I talk about? Banana, slightly underripe banana, actually. A lot of pineapple, a lot of tangerine. Kiwi, what is that? What is it? It isn't passion fruit. It's the other one. Dragon fruit, is it? It's one of those tropical fruits I can never remember. But behind it, you can still tell this is a classically made rum. There's a fair amount of just brininess, fennel, black olive, green olive juice. The basil is here, parsley. And something herbaceous, but a little bit sharper. Yeah, I'm gonna go with cilantro. There's something of a cilantro note in this. Maybe cilantro's been there all the time in Hampden, and just now I'm picking up on it. Interesting. Good nose. I mean, these are all good noses. I mean, who am I kidding? On the palate. So unlike the HCLF, which obviously I have experience with trying neat, the Diamond H here is something I've never, tasted in unaged form before. So this is kind of a new one for me, and I'm really enjoying this. It's got enough of those kind of crazy high ester characteristics. The blueberries, smothered with Smarties and Sour Patch. But at the same time, it's married to these very overt traditional rum sorts of notes. The brininess, the olives, the fennel. It's actually a very beautiful balance. Rocky flowers. Cherry cola. Like a lot of those classic Hampden notes. I don't know. This is kind of becoming hard because to me, tasting this, sitting in front of these are very distinct. These two are very distinct rums. Like the HCLF seems to have more of a blueberry blackberry driven profile, whereas this is much more forward with the crazy sour candies thing. But it's hard to articulate that when I'm just running off notes. Really good mouthfeel though. There's a kind of a tobacco thing on this, like there's some like Perique burley flake. I remember being able to get. It wasn't a it was a broken flake. It wasn't a flat flake. It was I cannot remember what it was, but that's kind of what I'm getting on this Perique burley flake. Really good mouthfeel, just hangs and hangs and hangs on Smarties and pineapple, and a mixture of these really weird fruity floral notes with traditional savory rum sorts of notes. Yeah, very good, really good stuff. Okay, let's give this a couple squirts of water. All right. That was, did I mention the ester amounts? So Diamond H is 900 to 1,000 grams per hectoliter of pure alcohol. But now we are moving on to, wow, okay, HGML. HGML is, Hampden says, originally intended for blending on export markets. Which is to say, the Germans bought this stuff. The Germans made some pretty anemic rums in their home country, and then they would buy tiny amounts of Jamaican rum, but really high ester Jamaican rum, to blend in to kind of give it character. And they're saying this is the one that was really used for that. So what do you got here? Like a lot like the Diamond H profile, but you've got more cane vinegar thrown in, and again a longer fermentation. So Diamond H from 10 days fermentation. This stuff 15 days fermentation, and 10 of those days are what they're calling a dead wash, which is to say, it's you're past the point of just alcoholic fermentation. You're getting into acetic fermentation. So really starting to get some fun stuff out of the yeast. Oh, and it comes through. 1,000 to 1,100 grams per hectoliter pure alcohol. Really, like, just intense, sharp character on this. Salted licorice. A lot of salted licorice with like, what is that? Like pickled beets, I want to say, something like that. Like just a lot of pickly stuff. Except everything except like regular pickled cucumbers. No gherkins in this. Just pickled beets, the pickled plums you get in Japan. Actually, yeah, there is some pruniness in here, along with cherry cola, rocky flowers, Smarties, yeah, blueberries, blackberries, and a fair amount of like just like sour character coming through now. Yeah, I'm actually getting some lemon lime. This smells like it's starting to get some genuine sour character. Bergamot again. Lots of pineapple, plantain, kiwi, guava. Wow, but it's really that the salted licorice character that's tying all this together, which is interesting. Like, I thought as we kind of progressed through these, we would start to lose more and more of those traditional rum notes. But salted licorice is a note I absolutely associate with sort of, lower ester, pot distilled, old school molasses based rums, and also just cane juice rums. Not a lot of olive left in this, though. It's really, all the savoriness is, it feels like it's concentrated into this sword, this really sharp sword made of, like, yeah, salted licorice sword. You will see language increasingly fail me throughout this video. To paraphrase Wittgenstein, that of which we cannot speak, we must make awkward metaphors. Okay, let's see what happens in the palate. Oh, damn. So I mentioned on the nose of this that I was starting to get some sour notes, some like lemon lime acid notes, and it absolutely carries through on the palate. This is actually bringing a fairly interesting sour profile. Let me try this again. The development on this, as good as these first two are, the Diamond H and the HLCF, this feels like a step up just in terms of how it's behaving in my mouth. Oh, yeah. So it arrives very softly on Smarties, cherry cola, the salted licorice thing, a little bit. And then it sort of spreads with, what is that? Like sour blueberry, sour cherry, little lemon lime, pineapple, so kiwi, even a little nectarine in there. Just a whole bunch of fruit, but like sour fruit, actually. And then there's this wave of rocks and flowers, along with more salted licorice that kind of comes in and covers everything. It's quite a journey. Can I take a minute to just go back to the Diamond H for a second? Diamond H is great, but it just doesn't have the form that this hug mill, can I just call it hug mill? Hug mill, that this hug milk has. Wow. I mean, I can't make complaints about the way any of these are behaving in my mouth. These first two still completely dominate my palate. They cover everything. They hold on. It's terrific. But the way this thing, the hug mill, develops is just on a different level. Really, really, really good stuff. Let's give that some water and we'll come back to it. Two, 3, 4, 5. Now we're getting scary. All right, moving on. Running out of water here. Moving on to C, Diamond H. This is the same mark as one of my favorite Hampdens from last year. That was, of course, an aged bottling, though. So what have we got here? Here we're upping all the magic stuff, the cane juice, the dunder, the muck. All that is going up a notch from the hug mill, and we're doing more fermentation. So alcoholic fermentation gets longer, but so does the acetic fermentation, the dead wash, for a total of 20 days, almost 3 weeks fermentation for this C Diamond H. And the result of that, oh, Jesus, what in God's name? The result of that is an ester count of 1,300 to 1,400 grams per hectoliter of pure alcohol, which is a lot. What on earth? I don't even know where to start with. Okay. So my first thought is it's if you could imagine something halfway in between, like an old school box of British toffee and a pineapple. That's kind of what this smells like. And now coming back to it, it's starting to bring more floral rocks, rocky flowers, and like what is that? Like a rosewater and actually almost like a Gewürztraminer kind of thing. There's a lychee fruit thing going on. Wow, that is interesting. Also smells quite sour, but in a different dimension than the hug mill did. This is wild. We're still getting salted licorice. Not a whole lot of olive, seawater, anything. All that's been washed out. There's a little bit of basil going on. Bergamot, kiwi. Lots of berries. Blackberry, blueberry, cherry. It's very like it, but I can't get over that like almost caramel toffee notes, something like that. But it's like fruity, floral toffee. I don't, as if like while you were making the stuff, you just dumped a whole bunch of, like floral, fruity flavorings into it. I don't. It's completely crazy. And some really intense lemon peel for punching through now. This is changing a little bit every time I smell it. Okay, wow. All right, on the palate. Here we go. Oh. So first thought is it doesn't have quite the same journey to it as the HGML, the hug mill. That was really taking my mouth on like a tour of different stuff. This is much more just like a one big, you know, punch in the mouth. But it works. It's really really intense. Not to say there isn't a journey going on with this. It's just not quite to that. Oh man, this is good. Again, what's getting me a little bit is the sour character of this. Lemon drops. Ooh, not lemon bars actually. Lemon bars, secretly one of my favorite desserts, which I will never buy anymore because I'm the only one who ends up eating it, and I just like have to pile all of them into my mouth. Lemon bars, absolutely, but with like smothered in blueberries and blackberries, and a little bit of currant, and actually quite a lot of currant, like black currant. Rocky flowers, floral rocks, salted licorice. I'm beginning to see that as a thorough line in these really really high ester Hampdens. A little bit of spearmint actually, just a little bit. Sour Patch Candy. That kind of Perique burley tobacco thing. That's going on. Yeah, it's the lemon bars thing that's getting me. Like, yeah, this is great too. I don't know. And maybe it's just like these batches, right? I mean, these. Don't take what I'm saying here as sort of definitive for these different marks, these different recipes, because these are all just different batches, right? Like one batch of, you're going to see different variations of between one batch of, say, HGML versus another one. But for me, for these batches, I think maybe the HGML might be beating out the C Diamond H for me, which I was not expecting. Let's give this some water. We shall come back. 2, 3, 4, 5. And lastly, this is DOK, DOK. DOK, Derman Owen Kelly Lawson. Hampden describes this, well, it's the highest ester rum of Hampden Estate and all of Jamaica. There's other rums that get up here, but yeah, this is the legal max. Tasting, and they say, I love this line, tasting DOK neat is an extreme but very formative experience. I can confirm this. I cried the first time I tried DOK. If you are watching this and you somehow think you've tried everything in spirits because you've had, like, I don't know, George T. Stagg and a young Lafroig that's been in a PX cask, you really, really, really need to try some DOK sometime. It will broaden your mind. Okay, so what's going on with this? As you would expect, looking at the stats, lots of cane juice vinegar, lots of dunder, lots of muck, and a total of 25 days fermentation. This is the serious stuff. And on the nose, On the nose, though, it actually comes across as more restrained than the previous two glasses. So I've tried two different iterations of DOK before, and this is the first one that actually, it's certainly the most restrained of the three that I've had. I am still getting lots of rocky flowers back and forth. I'm getting that note. That's really the dominant note here. A huge basket of fruit, berries. All the berries, orange, bergamot, little tangerine. Certainly some pineapple. Lots of pineapple, actually. Just, yeah, very fruity. Little hints that this is still a rum, right? Like, there's like one little fennel seed thrown in there. One basil leaf. But really, this is all about the rocks, the flowers, the fruit. And the more I swirl it, the more it's kind of starting to open up on me. But I'm going to be honest, given what I expect from DOK, this is pretty quiet on the nose so far. But I haven't tasted it yet. Let's see what happens on the palate. So, first of all, very, very good. Really, really good. Extremely fruity, outrageously fruity. All the pineapple, all the orange, all the flowers, all the rocks. Ooh, it's a nice bitterness on the back end, like rocks and lemon peel, like I'm chewing on a lemon peel, all in the back end, really takes over my entire mouth. However, even on the palate, this is relatively restrained, even compared to the previous two glasses. It's still damn good, though. I'm really curious to see what water does to this. I want the water to open this up a little bit more. It's still fantastic. It still just completely covers my mouth. But I'm going to be honest with you. At this point in the proceedings, the hug mill, the HGML, is kind of running away with this for me. So I'm hoping the DOK kind of wakes up with water. We shall see. 2, 3, 4, 5. That being said, the quality on all of these is like through the roof. I mean, like, what an absolute coup to put out something like this. Like, I feel bad for the liquor departments that have to find a place to put this thing. Like, where do you put this on display? This is the monolith from 2001, turned on its side, and you have to find shelf space for this. But as a product, like, to show off what your distillery is, like, this is astonishing. Like, it's, and I just have to, before I even get to the quality of these bottlings, I have to absolutely applaud Hampden for showing off what they do like this. This is great. Well done indeed. Good flex. All right, we're back to the HCLF now with some water. It's certainly a step down after the onslaught of these later glasses, but it's nice to return to something that is more on the ground of sort of normal rum in a way. Like I'm really welcoming back the fennel and the olives. Has it developed really? No. Maybe the berries have come forward a little bit more, the kind of blueberry thing. But other than that, not a whole lot of development on the HCLF from where it was. On the palate, fabulous. Arrives kind of medium fruity floral on the front of the mouth, then develops a lot of minerality, a lot of salt water, a lot of olive, a lot of fennel, a little basil, hints of cherry cola and pineapple and something orangey kind of running through the entire affair. Yep. It's HLF and it's good. 88 points. Which I think is the same score that I have given to Rum Fire in the past. But this is actually a little bit of a different experience than Rum Fire. It's a little bit more kind of subtle. A little bit more delicate and floral than the Rum Fire I know, which I'm fine with. Yeah, good rum. Moving on to the Diamond H. Again, this is not C Diamond H. This is regular Diamond H. No C. Nose is actually withdrawn a little bit. Just a little bit with the addition of water. It's still... What I'm getting is still like this lovely mix of those crazy high estery notes that you got more in these three, and those more traditional rummy notes you were getting, say, in the L Rock, the stuff in the previous video. It's not a lot of development. It's really kind of just like actually pulled back a little bit on the nose, if anything. Let's see what happens in the palate. Yeah, it's kind of the same story on the palate. It's still really good. I mean, it really comes across as like was just a kind of fruitier, but at the same time kind of flatter version of the HCLF. Yeah, I kind of like this better. Neat, honestly. I'm not going to dig it too much. 88 minus. Let me try this again one more time. I'm going to move these over just a little bit so I don't knock anything over. Yeah, it's still really good. It's still like just a really good rum. A really good rum. It's just like with kind of flattens out just a little bit with water. So with the Diamond H, I would recommend just having it neat. Great stuff though. All right, moving on to what was kind of in the lead for me, surprisingly, on the first round, the Hugmill. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. There's almost like what is that? You're going to be scared when I say this, but there's almost a coconut note coming through now, but it's not the inside of the coconut. This is not the the meat. This is the outside. Like you've just pulled the coconut off the tree, and it's still like got all those hairs and stuff on it, and then you smell it. That's kind of what I'm getting now. But still rolling with those high estery rum notes. Lots of berries, lots of flowers, lots of rocks. But also a fair amount of brininess, salted licorice. Not a ton of development on this either. It's aside from the coconut thing, it's pretty much playing the same tricks as it was before. And considering how much I enjoyed this before, that's not necessarily a problem on the palate. Oh my God, this is fabulous. Again, if I named off the flavors, it would just be the same list of flavors you've been hearing through this entire video. What's impressing me about this is the way it's presenting those flavors, the way it just develops all through my mouth. Behaves one way in the front, and then as it moves through, does different things. And yeah, it's just really impressive in the way it's doing that. One more time. So it doesn't bring a whole lot more to the table with water. It's maybe the mouthfeel is a little bit fattened up, but it didn't really have a problem with that before. I'll tell you what, though, this is an absolutely fabulous rum. I'm going to give this 91 points. 91 points for the Hug Mill, and that is a big score. And it is leading the set so far. But let us move on to the Sea Diamond H, which I found immensely confusing but delightful the first time through. And it is still confusing to me nosing now. There's actually almost a durian thing coming through. Not bad durian. This is not that kind of flash frozen durian stuff that you sometimes buy, or the what is it? That stuff you have to mix up to make it. Not that. This is like the real thing. There's just a little bit of it, but it's in there. Really weird, like caramel thing. What is that? Almost a fudge. Like a fruity floral fudge thing, or like actually almost like a. You remember the Capri Suns you used to drink as a kid? Imagine like you just sprayed one of those things all over the floor, and then you smelled it. There's a little bit of like a spilled Capri Sun kind of thing going on here. Oh, yeah. Did it develop with water? I don't know. It was already like doing tons of different things before, so I have no idea. It smells great. Let's see what happens in the palate. Oh. It doesn't... How do I describe this? I mean, these two marks are right next to each other, right? The HGML and the Sea Diamond H, but the way they behave is so different and in very interesting respects. Like the HGML feels like it wants to tell a story. Like it has this whole journey it makes through my mouth. This just like takes over. This is like it comes in and then pow, it covers my entire mouth with fruit and minerality and all kinds of weird stuff. Which is better? I don't know. Like I'm my bias is towards the HGML, but I could see different people preferring a different one. I do like the HGML better. Just a little bit, not too much. Just a little bit. But this is still right up there. 90 points. 90 points for the C Diamond H. Terrific rum. And now for the DOK. And this is the one I found kind of weirdly restrained before. So I'm curious to see what water has done. Nah, not so much. It's still kind of... I mean, I didn't give it a whole lot of time to develop, did I? You saw me it was just a few minutes ago when I squirted this. Yeah, we're throwing a little bit more. We're throwing some, a little bit of that kind of lemon bar note that I was enjoying on one of these. I think it was the HGML, actually. Yeah, we're getting some lemon bars along with that just onslaught of high ester stuff. It's great. I want a little bit more. I want a little bit more from this. I've had more in other bottlings of DOK. I'm not quite getting it here. Let's see what happens in the palate. Like the fruit explosion on the front end of this is absolutely, it's still astonishing. But if we're talking about what's taking over my mouth in a more commanding way, I think that the C Diamond H is actually beating this. And again, maybe it's just like an individual batch thing, right? Different batches of DOK are going to behave differently. But this one's actually relatively restrained. It's still delicious. In some ways, this is actually easier to take. Is this a more sessionable than that Still Strength Monster I reviewed a year or two ago? Yes, absolutely. But I'm not going to score it as high. I'm going to give this... No, I'm going to give this 89 points. 89 points for the DOK. And that's it. That completes the set. And your winner is the Hugmill. This is... I had to get myself like a full bottle of an aged version of this mark. I really, really enjoyed this. But everything here and everything in this whole monolith of a set is fantastic. And yeah, if you want to take yourself on a deep journey into one distillery's capacities in terms of what they can do with rum, you got to try this. You gotta buy yourself one of these or find a friend who bought one. This is absolutely an achievement, and once again, well done, Hampden. Well done, everyone involved in making this set, except for whoever decided to pack the tops of the bottles in. So tight. You know what? I forgive you. Everything about this is so good. Even that's okay. Yeah, so what do we got? HCLF, 88 points, which I think is the same score as Rum Fire. But this is still worth trying, even if you know Rum Fire pretty well. Diamond H, 88 minus. Good. I wouldn't add water to this. It just loses too much. HGML, the winner at 91. C Diamond H, runner-up at 90. And the DOK, absolutely phenomenal, singular, but not my favorite batch of this, 89 points. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and cheers.